Hello and welcome to the amfori members webinar. This webinar is entitled What's New? Updates to the amfori BSCI System Manual. During this 1-hour webinar, Veronica Rubio, she is the amfori Senior Manager of Strategic Programs, will talk you through the revisions made to the system manual ahead of its release today. So during this 1-hour webinar, we will give you updates on the structure, on updates that we have made to the structure, the content, and the annexes. Just before proceeding with the webinar content, I'd like to inform everyone that you're on mute, and if you would like to address any questions, please do throughout. You can use the questions box located on the right-hand side of your screen. Please post your questions throughout. I will collect them and then I will address them to Veronica at the very end. And if you cannot hear, please do write in the chat box, so you can inform us if there's any issues with the technicalities of the webinar. So just to put a face to our voices, I'm Heather Kiggins, the events coordinator at amfori, and our main presenter is Veronica Rubio, the senior manager of strategic programs here. So we're going to dive straight into the content, and I'm going to hand straight over to Veronica. So just as a reminder, please do post your questions throughout. I will be collecting them, ready to address efficiently at the end. Veronica, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Heather, and thank you very much, everybody, for joining. I see a very big list of attendees, and considering that we are almost in the summer break, we are very grateful for you attending. Of course, the topic deserves it because you know that we've been working for a while already in developing this the revision of the system manual. Probably you are wondering how many changes you are going to be facing. So I want to tell you already that from the beginning of this presentation that there are no dramatic changes. The only thing that we wanted to do is listen to your feedback, and based on that feedback, make a tool that will be hopefully more user-friendly, more more practical, and that will also address the topics that are becoming more relevant into the sustainability arena lately. So as you can see in the first slide, what it is, for those that are not familiar with this document, we have since we have developed the BSCI 2.0 Code of Conduct, we also needed to reflect the Code of Conduct into a document, a big document. For many of you, very, very big document, over 300 pages, explaining how a company can conduct the due diligence in their supply chain, as well as embedding those principles into their own business culture. Also providing specific and very detailed guidance to the auditors on how to audit the BSC, to conduct a BSCI audit, and also guidance for those producers that are going to receive the audit. So as you can see, it's a document, it's a hands-on document that is intended to allow you, your member, as a member, to meet the BSCI amfori Code of Conduct values and principles, as well as cascade those values and principles through your supply chain in a way that you are able to early detect, monitor, and remedy any potential human rights violation that you can be confronted to in the supply chain. Okay, so the audience that this document is addressing are, of course, you as a BSCI participant. The producers, they have a specific part, and those producers can be both food and non-food producers in your supply chain. So we keep being a system that targets all sectors. A different another audience is the BSCI and for BSCI auditors that are qualified to take to undertake all the BSCI audits, including the SPA that I will talk about it later. And of course, we keep respecting our commitment towards transparency, and therefore this document is publicly available, and any public audience might actually consult this document and get inspiration out of it, including NGOs and trade unions and so on. So it's publicly available. From today onwards, everybody will be able to Google it and get it or visit our website and get it and download it. So what has changed? I hope this slide helped you to visualize the changes, because the first feedback, as I mentioned at the beginning, that we have been getting from you for the last few years is that the system manual, it was very big, and therefore it was sometimes difficult to digest. And although through the years you have been able to come up with good tricks on how to navigate it, it was still perceived like a very big document. So we did, of course, great effort in trying to reduce the content as much as possible, but of course it wasn't an easy task, because we realized that you still need a lot of the information that we have created in the previous version. So the way we try to address your concern was by changing the structure. So as you can see on this slide, there will be one part that presents to mainly BSCI participants the amfori BSCI due diligence implementation strategy. Every chapter in this part is very small, so basically it's trying to invite you to only consult those parts that are relevant for you, so you don't need to read the entire document, but just consult the small chapters, and then you go to the next chapters as possible. There are plenty of hyperlinks, so this version of the system manual is meant to be consulted in an electronic version, because it has a lot of hyperlinks that you can go to the documents that are interested to you. And then you have the second pillar that you see on the slide, that is the structure, sorry, the one with the arrow pointing at it. The part two is completely new, in the sense that we felt through these years there was a need for explaining in a nutshell why the BSCI and the amfori BSCI monitoring approach is different than anything that is out there. So we wanted to give a very standalone document to you, for example, when talking to your CEOs, or to you when you are talking with different stakeholders, that you are able to address them to this part two and explain very quickly why and how this our monitoring approach is different. It's holistic, it's based on triangulation, it's based on having an interconnected view on all the different performance areas. And the other two parts that you see, they are basically very, very similar to the current ones, but we again try to incorporate icons to facilitate the navigation for the BSCI auditors as well as for the producers. I think we have done a great effort in the part related to producers, because we did an extra effort in simplifying the language, putting more icons for producers, particularly those that are concerned with farming. And in that regard, really, I would like to thank my team for the amazing work they have done in making this structure and the content possible. And so, well, now I will dig it a little bit on what just said. And the part one of the amfori BSCI due diligence implementation strategy is the part you need to consult if you are looking for ways of communicating the BSCI Code of Conduct internally and externally. For most of you, you are already doing that. So you have already passed the Code of Conduct to your significant business partners, but so we repeat is very much the same content, the different ways you can do that within your supply chain, the different ways that you can engage with your own departments to get the buy-in. So the responsible conduct is not only embedded in one department, but actually is cross department. We also make some mention into small and micro enterprises, because we realize that when you are small, when you are less than 250 workers, you might face a lot of challenges in becoming a responsible entrepreneur. And so we want to guide you a little bit closely. And then in this part one, you can also get advice on how to map your risk and define the risk for the future, on how you will manage them. The second part, as I said, is the one that is more new for you, because we have incorporated information that in the previous version, in the version that you still have, it was under the part for the auditors. So now we have concise all the information about the monitoring approach in one part. And here you will be able to see what are the rights and responsibilities for the BSCI participants. You will also be able to very quickly read through the monitoring strategy, because since we have developed two more tools, the PQA, the Prequalification Assessment, and the SPA, the Small Producer Assessment, it was very important for us to guide you on how you can get the best of these two tools within the monitoring strategy. The cycle, the audit cycle remains exactly the same, and then the different steps for preparing and following up the audits remain the same, and you can find all that information there. And then you have part 3, which includes all the guidance for auditors, from the audit structure and execution to the actual guidance in understanding the different performance areas and writing a finding report. Of course, we always encourage you to read through this guidance, because it helps you to understand what are the views of the auditor for a specific, what has been thinking or having in mind when judging a specific performance area in a specific way. So this is meant for auditors, but not exclusively for the auditors. You will get a lot of information from this part. And then you have part 4, which is the guidance for producers. As I said, we have tried to simplify this content a lot. And one of the things that you will notice as different from the current version is that we have extracted from the previous part 4 what it was supposed to be the self-assessment for producers, because the feedback we got from you, it was unclear very often if we had or not a self-assessment for producers. And the reason for being unclear, it was because it was embedded within the guidance for producers. So what we have done is extract it from there and create a separate annex that is called the self-assessment for producers, so you will not have that confusion any longer. The other change that you will see is, as I said, far more icons for you to navigate through it, or your producers to be able to navigate through it, and more specific content for farming when that is the sector you are working in. And then, of course, because we wanted to have this modular approach with this new version of the system manual, we have created a lot more of annexes and templates, because we thought if you as a member want to address a specific topic, instead of going through the entire document, we will facilitate your life if we have a separate annex that address very quickly the content that you are aiming at. So for example, if you are moving from just auditing as a regular activity within your supply chain and you want to understand better the benefits of capacity building, how to use the academy and so on, you don't need to go through the entire document. You just go to Annex 13 and there you will find in a summarized way what are the different steps and the value of capacity building offered by the amfori BSCI system, as well as the specifics, the specific steps you need to do to invite your producers, when to invite them, and so on. The same, we could say it if for whatever strategic reason your company wants to tackle gender equality and you want to understand how being a amfori BSCI participant can help you in tackling that issue, you can go directly to Annex 14 and get the flavor of what will that mean for your company to integrate gender equality as part of your strategy. Or and then Annex number 9, as you can see, how to promote fair remuneration is a topic that is being in discussion for the last 12, 18 months, and we felt the need for summarizing in a separate standalone document the different definitions of legal minimum wage, living wage, fair remuneration, and what kind of advice from our side we can give you if you intend to go in that path of being more proactive in promoting fair remuneration through your supply chain. So as you can see, there are the idea of these annexes is that you get the information that you need very quickly on a very specific topic. All the documents that you see in blue are new. That doesn't mean that the other documents hasn't been touched. They have got some editing, some improvement, particularly, for example, the Annex 5 concerning the follow-up of zero tolerance protocol, where there was a need for including some edits, and therefore it's slightly new as well. And the templates, that will be the last part of the new system manual, and the same logic that I explained for the annexes will apply for templates. So we have make sure that now you and your producers have the possibility to fill in these templates, and they are PDF, but they can be filled in. And so you have then all standalone documents until template number 9, and then the new ones are the pre-qualification assessment questionnaire. So for those that want to have a best understanding on the content of this tool, they can just grab the template 10 and get to know the pre-qualification assessment questionnaire. It's true, though, that this pre-qualification assessment questionnaire, they can be downloaded from the BSCI platform and can be unloaded only from producer profiles that have never been audited before or have an audit that is older than 24 months. So you also get the guidance on how and when to use it, this document. As I mentioned before, we have extracted from part 3 the producer self-assessment. So that now is called template 11. So hopefully that will facilitate producer self-assessments. They will get this document in PDF. The same for the SPA, the small producer assessment, as you know, is a BSCI tool, is audit. It follows the same path and the same process than any other BSCI 2.0 audit. And as such, we have developed a self-assessment that could help producers, small producers, to prepare for the small audit. We have also created this template 13, which is a risk assessment on gender equality. So as you can see, many of the annexes will come up together with a template, and we advise you to use them both so you get the full picture on the content. So a few words on the pre-qualification assessment. I think you are going to receive this presentation. You will get access to it, so you will get, in case you forget, all the information here in bullet points, but you can see that the pre-qualification assessment is not a BSCI audit because it's something that happens before even taking the steps for a BSCI audit. And therefore, because it's not a BSCI audit, it's conducted by it can be conducted by internal auditors, it can be conducted by second-party assessors, but not necessarily by BSCI qualified auditors, and is not counting for your commitments, is not part of the audit history, and is up to you to download it and upload it in the platform to share it with other link participants. If you want to know more about this tool, the related resources are the Annex 15. As I say, that includes the guide as to how to pre-assess the potential business partners, as well as the template 10 that include the questionnaire. A few words from the small producer assessment. We have the pleasure to have a breakout session during our annual conference in Amsterdam with a very great debate about the benefits of this tool. We are really looking forward to see it, you using it and see that actually address your needs on how to monitor producers with less than 35 workers. If you want to know more about this tool and how it works, there are webinars available already in Academy. We have conducted webinars for participants as well as for auditors, because they also need to be trained in how to handle small producer audits. And then you can see the Annex 12 and Template 12, where, as I said, you will get the understanding on what it needs to be done. The magic word that you need to remember about the SPA is that everything starts with a declaration, a self-declaration from the small producer. And I don't say anymore because I hope you have a lot of questions on that regard. Yeah, and I think now will be more or less the time for, we will have half an hour for.
Yeah, so please post your questions in the question box on your screen. We'll go through the questions. It may be that we launch the system manual and then your questions will come. So we welcome your questions right now, or we welcome your questions now, or in the coming future after you've looked at the system manual. So one question, logistical. One logistical question. Where can people find the system manual? And will the system manual be sent to all members?
Well, it won't be sent. You will find it in several places. You will find it in the area for participants. You will find it in the BSCI platform. But more importantly, as I said, it's a publicly available document. So you will be able to actually go to the website and get it. You don't even need to have any logins for that.
And next question, are all annexes included in the system manual? And will the annexes be easy to find?
I really hope so. I think we have our colleagues from communication, Julieta, and all the team have been doing an amazing job in making sort of a table of content in our website, where you will be able to find all the annexes and the different parts. So I think in that context, we have made a great improvement. And if not, you let us know, but I think so. It's going to be much easier than before to find them.
Okay, I'm going to try, I think I'll try to improve the way the questions are asked, so you can hear them properly. So now questions are coming thick and fast. Let me see. In which languages will the new system manual be available?
I love that question because we are already investing a lot of energy to make it translated in, as you know, the system manual today is translated in 11 languages, and we aim at having at least the same. So I think the quicker translation available will be Chinese, but then very quickly Turkish, Bengali, German, Spanish, French, Portuguese, Hindi, and Italian. So it will be 11, actually 12, because we never had Italian in the past, and we will have it now.
So, will producers be informed directly? And how will the small producer assessment impact the producers?
Well, two very good questions. So, concerning how the producer will get to know this, as you know, the amfori doesn't necessarily contact or is in touch with the producers directly. So this is something that you do. You contact your own supply chain and you inform them as you feel it, as is part of your strategy. The other question was about the small producers, how they will get affected. And actually, if you allow me, first will be how they will be how they will know about this PAP, because I think there is a great investment for you in terms of dedication and informing your small producers. So if you ask me, once you have mapped out in your supply chain who among your suppliers are small, have less than 35 workers, it is advisable that you send them the Annex 12 and the Template 12, and you explain them that if they are if your information is correct and they have less than 35 workers, together with the other few criteria that represent small, then they are eligible to be audited with this new tool. And so that will mean that instead of going through 100 plus questions, they only get 48 questions. Because the SPA is actually an amfori BSCI audit, it follows the same logic in terms of performance areas, but the content it's simplified, as well as if you allow the lens the auditor will use is understanding that a producer is a small one, and therefore it will not expect the producer having very sophisticated management systems. You will not expect to have the very sophisticated grievance mechanism and so on. So the impact, we believe, will be very positive for a small producer.
Thanks, Veronica. Next question. Does the pre-qualification assessment have the same grading system as the real audit?
That's a very good question. Also, no, because it's not an audit. So we needed to do to make sure that doesn't get confused, because if it gets confused, it's suitable to be a misrepresentation. So we wanted to make sure that because it's not an audit, it doesn't look like an audit, and because the goal that the pre-qualification assessment aims at having is identifying the risks even before you conduct an audit, and therefore it will really provide a sort of color, how do you say that, traffic lights system for a member to realize the risk within that producer and decide whether it's worth going for an audit or not.
How will we train our internal auditors for the pre-assessments? Will we offer training courses?
Another very good question indeed, because this tool is not supposed to, or do you mean, okay, so this tool is not supposed to be conducted by our own auditors. If you want to train your own your internal auditors, then I would suggest you to use the tools that are part of the system manual. And if you still need more things, I invite you to use info@amfori.org and request support from the Secretariat in terms of what kind of training you will need.
Okay. So we'll try to speak very clearly into the microphone, as I think we're cutting out every now and again. The definition of small producers, what's the number of workers in order to be defined as a small producer?
The quick answer is 35, but I truly invite you to go to the webinars that are posted in the Academy, because there we explain, it was a webinar of 1 hour, because the topic deserves an hour explanation. So I would rather ask you to go to that webinar. It's 35 workers. It includes other elements that are important for you to know.
And what about costs? Can you tell us about the costs for the small producers? Are audits for small producers cheaper than normal audits?
Yes, thank you. So as you know, we, the Secretariat, doesn't control the cost of audits. What we control is the mandates, that minimum mandate that the auditor need to invest in conducting an amfori BSCI audit. And this is a very good question, because we have incorporated for the SPA a maximum of 1 day, because we believe if you need to go more than 1 day, you need to give explanations on why it's so. And that will be the cost of the audit, will be 1 mandate, and then the actual cost will depend on how much the specific audit company charge you for a mandate.
Another question about the SPA. Can SPA audits be conducted for both audit types, full audit and follow-up audit?
Yes, because it's a BSCI audit, and therefore it has all the features of a BSCI audit. It has the same rating, it has the same performance areas, it has the same cycle, it can be suitable for zero tolerance alerts. Everything is the same. It's just shortened.
That question referred to both audit types. Are members able to conduct SPA audits for both audit types? I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
You've just answered.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same. And in addition to that, so from the question from Dieter Nirgens, in addition to the fact that yes, it's possible, it is also possible for a SPA, if you realize that you conduct a regular BSCI audit to a producer that was small, the follow-up can be conducted with a SPA. You don't need to wait to reinitiate the cycle. You can just change, provided that you have the self-declaration signed by the producer. That is the triggering point.
So, Veronica, I'm going to ask, when I ask a question, if you repeat the question a little bit, because for some reason the mic isn't working so well for me. How many mandates are calculated for SPAs? I think the question around SPAs, we'll have to draw up a questionnaire because there's so many questions. So another question, how many mandates?
Yes, so how many mandates are calculated for a SPA? Only 1 mandate. So that's the beauty of the SPA, that we have narrowed it down to 1 mandate.
And where can members find the audit rules? Are they available?
So the audit rules available will be part 3 of the system manuals. And you can also find, so that will be part 3 for the auditors, and part 2 where you will understand the approach. I didn't.
If there are no more questions, let me just check through. If the pre-qualification assessment is conducted by a CB, is the same CB able to conduct an official BSCI audit?
Thank you very much, Mike, for this question. So the question was if the auditing company, qualified auditing company conducts the pre-qualification assessment, is it possible that that very auditing company also conducts the official BSCI audit? And the answer is yes. There are not constraints from that perspective. We have not limited that possibility.
When do the new guidelines for small producers come into force?
So the small producer actually was launched on the 8th. Sorry. So the question was when the guidance for the small producer comes into place, and the small producer was launched. The SPA was launched on the 8th of June, and is available in our BSCI platform. So you can already request a SPA through the BSCI platform. Two things need to happen through that process. The first one is that the process starts with you asking the producer to sign a self-declaration declaring that he is small. That is the first step. The second step, and that you will already do it through the BSCI platform, is that you will identify a suitable auditing company, and that auditing company will need to allocate the SPA audit to an auditor that has received the SPA training. And if you need further information on the SPA, actually the two major documents that will give you all the information that you need about the SPA are the Annex 12 and Template 12. And if you still have questions, I really invite you to go to the Academy and attend the webinar concerning the SPA, because there is not only the presentation, but also FAQs.
And a last question, what is the time frame to re-audit a producer when a BSCI date, when an audit date is almost expired?
What is the standard time frame to re-audit a producer when a BSCI date is almost expired? So usually, I think it's, but now I wouldn't know it by heart, but I think 2 months before the BSCI expires, you receive an alert through the system, so you can reallocate and request a follow-up. And that's the normal, I would say, the standard time frame for you to conduct a re-audit.
Thank you. So just to inform you that the presentations and the recording of the webinar will be shared with everybody, and the system manual together with the annexes will be available today. This
yes.
This webinar is a preview of what is to come. One last question, unless anybody has any final questions. Is there a list of auditing companies that have had the SPA training?
That's a very good question. We didn't think of having a specific list for that because, but actually I'm gonna take it on board to see what can we do to facilitate your selection. Maybe it's worth trying, Veronica. So thank you very much for that idea.
So if there are no more questions, we thank everyone. We've had a fantastic turnout, and I apologize for the sound, the quality of the sound, especially from my side. There are a couple more questions which we will answer in the follow-up email. Please do send any questions that come to your mind after you've received the system manual, and we'll follow up with you directly. So in the meantime, we would like to thank you for your attention. If you've got more questions, please send an email to info@amfori.org. And we will follow up with all your questions that you have. Thank you, and we wish you a very good day.
Thank you very much, and have a lovely day.